the rise and fall of Barcelona's Tiki-Taka, and its comeback in 2025. There was a time when football felt slow. Not boring, not passive, but inevitable. The ball moved gently, relentlessly, as if guided by an unseen hand. Opponents chased shadows, crowds held their breath, and somewhere in the middle of the pitch, Barcelona quietly took control of reality itself. This was Tiki-Taka, not just a style of play, but a philosophy that changed football forever. And then, just as quietly, it disappeared. This is the story of how Tiki-Taka rose, why it collapsed, and why, against all odds, it is finding its way back in 2025. The birth of an idea. Tiki-Taka did not begin with trophies. It began with rebellion. In the late 1980s, Johan Cruyff arrived at Barcelona with a dangerous belief that football should be played with intelligence, not force. He demanded possession, positional discipline, angles, triangles. Players were taught to think before they ran, to pass before they panicked, to move without the ball as if it were already there. Cruyff wasn't building a team. He was building a school. La Masia became a laboratory where children learned football like mathematics. Principles first, flair second. Years later, the students graduated, and the world was not ready. The golden peak. By the late 2000s, Tiki-Taka reached its purest form. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, three midfielders who didn't overpower opponents. They outthought them. The ball moved faster than legs. Space was created before defenders realized it existed. And then there was Messi, not the winger, not the striker, but the false nine, the missing piece that made the system unstoppable. From 2008 to 2012, Barcelona didn't just win. They dominated control. Opponents didn't lose because they were weaker. They lost because they were denied the ball, denied rhythm, denied hope. Tiki-Taka reached its peak not in goals, but in humiliation. Teams walked off the pitch exhausted, mentally defeated. Football had never seen anything like it. The world adapts. But football never stands still. As Barcelona perfected Tiki-Taka, the rest of the world studied it and learned how to survive it. Defenses dropped deeper, midfields compacted, pressing became coordinated, violent, precise. Suddenly, possession was no longer feared. It was invited. Opponents waited. Let Barcelona pass sideways and struck in transition. The same system that once suffocated teams began to suffocate itself. Tiki-Taka demanded perfection, any drop in intensity, any hesitation, and it became fragile. Coaches studied heat maps and pressing triggers. Teams learned where to exploit even minor imbalances. Barcelona's brilliance became vulnerable to calculated aggression. Even Messi's genius was sometimes neutralized. The art of controlling the game collided with the science of counter-control. The slow decline. The decline was not dramatic. That's why many didn't notice. Barcelona still had the ball, still dominated possession charts, still passed beautifully. But the edge was gone. Verticality disappeared. Risk was reduced. Creativity became cautious. As legends aged and replacements lacked the same intuition, Tiki-Taka became predictable. And predictable football is punishable football. Europe exposed it mercilessly. High-energy pressing, fast transitions, direct attacks. Barcelona were outrun, outmuscled, outadapted. The philosophy that once ruled football was now being questioned. Opponents anticipated patterns. Corners and counters became lethal. Barcelona's space-based magic was being dissected and neutralized. Even small mistakes are amplified under relentless pressure. The perfect machine revealed its vulnerabilities, and Europe did not forgive. The Messi problem. Ironically, Messi both sustained Tiki-Taka and delayed its evolution. As the system weakened, Messi compensated. He created goals from nothing, solved tactical problems individually. Masked structural issues. Barcelona didn't fix the system. They relied on genius. And when Messi left, the illusion collapsed overnight. Without him, Tiki-Taka looked empty. Possession without threat, movement without purpose. The era was over, or so it seemed. The post-Tiki wilderness, after Messi, Barcelona entered a philosophical identity crisis. They tried everything: direct football, hybrid systems, pragmatic approaches. Nothing felt right. Wins came without joy. Losses came without clarity. The club faced a brutal truth. You cannot abandon your philosophy, but you also cannot freeze it in time. Tiki-Taka had become a museum piece, beautiful, untouchable, irrelevant, until something changed. Coaches debated endlessly in boardrooms. Youth teams were questioned for producing too much Tiki-Taka. Transfers tried to bridge the gap between old and new styles. Fans demanded instant results while philosophy stagnated. Barcelona realized that evolution, not imitation, was the only path forward. The club had to reimagine its DNA without losing its essence. New ideas emerged quietly, through youth promotion and tactical refinements. A slow, deliberate rebuilding had begun, less flashy, but far more sustainable. Why Tiki-Taka failed? The failure was not about possession. It was about interpretation. Old Tiki-Taka believed control equals dominance, patience equals superiority, possession equals safety. Modern football exposed the flaw. Control without vertical intent is sterile. Patience without threat is passive. Possession without aggression is vulnerable. The idea wasn't wrong. It was incomplete. The seeds of a comeback. By the early 2020s, a new generation emerged. Younger players trained in La Masia, but exposed to modern football realities. They understood pressing, they understood transitions, they understood intensity. What they lacked was synthesis. And slowly, quietly, Barcelona began combining old intelligence with new urgency. The ball still mattered, but so did speed. Possession still existed, but it had purpose. Tiki-Taka wasn't returning. It was evolving. The 2025 rebirth, by 2025, something subtle became visible. Barcelona no longer passed to dominate statistics. They passed to create danger. Vertical runs returned. Midfield rotations became sharper. Pressing triggers became coordinated. The ball moved faster, but forward. This was not nostalgia. It was refinement. Old principles, space, angles, intelligence, merged with modern demands. Intensity, speed, adaptability. Opponents could no longer sit comfortably. They were forced to choose. Press high and risk being played through, or sit deep and be pulled apart. That choice is the essence of great football. Why this version works. The comeback of Tiki-Taka works because it accepts reality. It understands that possession is a tool, not a goal. Structure must serve players, not ideology. Control must coexist with chaos. Barcelona no longer worship the ball. They use it. That is the difference. The deeper lesson. Football punishes arrogance. When Tiki-Taka believed it was untouchable, it fell. When it learned humility, it adapted. The modern version respects history, but does not obey it blindly. It asks a smarter question. How do we control the game today? Not 10 years ago, not romantically, but realistically. Tiki-Taka never truly died. It was misunderstood, overprotected, frozen in time. And football moved on. Now in 2025, it returns not as a memory, but as a mature idea, less obsessed with beauty, more focused on purpose. The lesson is simple and timeless. Great philosophies do not survive by refusing change. They survive by evolving without losing their soul. If you enjoy deep football stories like this, stories about ideas, not just goals, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because football isn't just played on grass. It's shaped by ideas that rise, fall, and, if they're strong enough, come back smarter than before.